Hi, I'm Oliver. I've always been the kind of student who keeps his head down, does his work, and tries not to make waves. Junior year at Riverside High was supposed to be my breakthrough year. I'd been studying harder than ever, especially in AP Chemistry with Miss Thornton. Mr. Hayes, would you care to enlighten the class? Miss Thornton's voice cut through my thoughts during third period one Tuesday. I looked up from my notebook. Sorry, what was the question? The question, Mr. Hayes, was about molecular bonding, which you would know if you were paying attention instead of doodling in your notebook. She walked toward my desk, her heels clicking against the tile floor. Unless you think you're too smart for this class? No, ma'am, Show me your notebook. My stomach dropped. I handed it over, knowing what she'd find. Pages of chemistry notes, practice problems, and yes, some sketches in the margins. She held it up for the class to see. Class, this is what happens when students prioritize art projects over actual learning. Mr. Hayes here seems to think he can coast through AP Chemistry by drawing pictures. Those are molecular diagrams, I said quietly. I draw them to help me remember. Are you contradicting me? Her eyes narrowed. You scored a 72 on the last exam. 72%, Mr. Hayes. In my 15 years of teaching, I maintained a perfect score on every single exam, quiz, and standardized test I ever took. The state exam, I scored a 98. That's the school record, and it stood for 8 years. Jake, my best friend, shifted uncomfortably 2 rows over. I don't expect excellence from everyone, Miss Thornton continued, but I do expect effort. Real effort, not doodles. She dropped my notebook on my desk. Perhaps if you spent less time with your colored pencils and more time actually studying, you wouldn't be barely passing my class. The room was silent. 26 pairs of eyes stared at me. Sarah Mitchell, who sat in front, turned around with a sympathetic look. Marcus Chen, the class brain, looked at his desk. Yes, ma'am, I managed. After class, Jake caught up with me at my locker. Dude, that was brutal, he said. She completely destroyed you in there. I know. The thing is, Jake leaned against the locker next to mine. She wasn't even right. I've seen your notes, Oliver. You're actually good at this stuff. That 72 was because you were sick during the exam, remember? She doesn't care about excuses. It's not an excuse, it's a reason. Jake crossed his arms. You know what I heard? Sarah's older sister had Thornton 3 years ago. She said Thornton always picks one student every year to make an example of. Last year it was Tommy Rodriguez. Year before that, some girl named Jennifer. Great, lucky me. Are you going to let her get away with it? I slammed my locker shut. What am I supposed to do, Jake? She's the teacher. She has all the power. Maybe, Jake grinned. Or maybe you prove her wrong. You know what would really kill her? Beating that precious record of hers? The state exam. That's in 8 months, and it's the thing she's most proud of. Yeah. Jake pulled out his phone, showing me Miss Thornton's faculty page. Look at this. State exam record holder, 98%, class of 2017. She mentions it in every parent-teacher conference, every open house, every chance she gets. I stared at the screen. Something shifted inside me. That night at dinner, my mom noticed I was quiet. Oliver, honey, you've barely touched your food. What's wrong? Nothing, Mom. It's not nothing. She set down her fork. I got an email from Miss Thornton today. She said you've been distracted in class and suggested we have a conversation about your priorities. My dad looked up from his plate. What happened? I told them everything. The notebook incident, the public humiliation, the emphasis on her perfect record. That's completely inappropriate, Mom said immediately. Embarrassing a student like that? I want to beat her record, I interrupted. They both stared at me. The state exam, I continued. She scored a 98 8 years ago. I want to score a 99 or a 100. Dad raised his eyebrows. That's ambitious. The state chemistry exam is incredibly difficult. I know, but I can do it. I've been studying the material. I understand it. I just need to focus, really focus, for the next 8 months. Mom reached across the table and squeezed my hand. If this is what you want, we'll support you. But do it for yourself, Oliver, not just to prove something to her. Maybe it's both, I said. The next morning, I found Jake before first period. I'm doing it, I said. I'm beating her record. Yes, Jake pumped his fist. Okay, so what's the plan? I need help, real help. Can you study with me? You're solid in chemistry. Dude, I'm a B student. You need someone better. Then who? Marcus Chen. He's getting straight A's in there, and he actually likes chemistry. Plus, Thornton doesn't pick on him. Ask him. I found Marcus in the library during lunch. Hey, Marcus, can I ask you something? He looked up from his textbook. Sure, what's up? I want to study for the state exam. Like, really study. Jake said you might be willing to help. Marcus tilted his head. The state exam isn't until May. I know, but Miss Thornton has the school record, 98%. I want to beat it. He was quiet for a moment, then smiled. Because of what she did to you yesterday? Sarah told me about it. Partially, but also because I actually care about chemistry, and I'm tired of being treated like I don't. Okay. Marcus closed his textbook. I'll help you. But you need to understand, Oliver, this isn't just about studying harder. The state exam tests things we haven't even covered yet in class. We'll need to go beyond the curriculum. I'm ready. Are you? Because I'm talking 3-4 hours a day minimum, practice exams every week. Memorizing not just reactions, but mechanisms, applications, real-world problems. Whatever it takes, Marcus grinned. Then let's do this. Meet me in the library after school. And bring Jake, we can use a study group. Over the next few weeks, our routine solidified. Marcus, Jake, and I met every day after school. Marcus was a patient teacher, breaking down complex concepts into understandable pieces. The trick with thermodynamics, Marcus explained one afternoon, is thinking about energy flow like water. It always goes from high to low unless you force it otherwise. That actually makes sense, I said, scribbling notes. Jake looked up from his practice problems. Dude, you're already improving. Last practice quiz, you got an 87. Not good enough. I need to be averaging 95 or higher on practice tests before I even think about the real thing. One Friday, Sarah approached me after Miss Thornton's class. Oliver, can I talk to you for a second? Sure. We stepped into the hallway. Sarah looked nervous. I heard you're studying for the state exam, like seriously studying. Yeah, why? I think what you're doing is amazing, she said quickly. Thornton has been awful to you and everyone knows it, but I need to warn you about something. What? My sister Emily, she had Thornton her junior year. Emily was brilliant at chemistry, wanted to study it in college. She scored a 96 on the state exam, just 2 points below Thornton's record. That's incredible. It was. But Thornton, Sarah hesitated. She made Emily's senior year miserable, wrote a terrible recommendation letter, told colleges Emily was adequate but not exceptional. Emily ended up at a state school instead of MIT, where she'd been accepted. My blood ran cold. She sabotaged her own student? Emily thinks Thornton didn't want anyone threatening her record. She's that competitive. Sarah put her hand on my arm. I'm just saying, be careful. If Thornton thinks you're actually going to beat her score, she might try to stop you. That weekend, I told my parents what Sarah had said. That's serious, Dad said. If a teacher is deliberately sabotaging students, we don't have proof, Mom interrupted. It's hearsay from years ago. But Oliver, maybe you should talk to your guidance counselor. Make sure everything is documented. Mr. Peterson? I considered it. Yeah, okay. Monday morning, I visited Mr. Peterson's office. Oliver, come in, sit down. What can I do for you? I explained the situation. Miss Thornton's treatment of me, my goal for the state exam, and Sarah's warning about her sister. Mr. Peterson leaned back in his chair. This is concerning. I can't speak to what happened with Emily Mitchell without evidence, but I can tell you that your performance and behavior should be documented. Have you been having any issues with Miss Thornton since the notebook incident? She calls on me constantly, even when I don't raise my hand. If I get an answer wrong, she makes a big deal of it. If I get it right, she just moves on. I see. He made notes. Here's what I suggest. Keep a log of interactions, dates, times, what was said. If this escalates, we'll need documentation. And Oliver, don't let her intimidate you from pursuing your goal. If you want to take that exam and do well, that's your right as a student. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. As I left his office, I felt more determined than ever. Whatever Miss Thornton tried, I would be ready. By March, I was scoring consistently in the high 90s on practice exams. Marcus said I was ready. Jake said I was going to crush it. My parents were proud but worried. Miss Thornton had noticed my improvement. Mr. Hayes, you seem to have turned things around, she said one day after I aced a quiz. The class had cleared out, leaving just the two of us. 95%. Quite the jump from your usual performance. Thank you. Although, she continued, organizing papers on her desk, improvement in class doesn't necessarily translate to standardized tests. The state exam is a different beast entirely. I understand that. She looked at me directly. I hear you've been studying for it, quite seriously from what I'm told. Yes, ma'am, I'm taking it in May. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Ambition is admirable, Oliver, but overconfidence can be dangerous. I'd hate to see you disappointed when the results come back. The exam has a way of humbling people. I appreciate your concern. It's not concern, it's reality. She stood up, walking around her desk. I've been teaching AP chemistry for 15 years. I know what it takes to excel on that exam. Some students have it, some don't. You're a solid B student, Oliver. Maybe even an A student on a good day. But the state exam requires exceptional understanding, the kind that comes from natural aptitude, not just hard work. Something snapped inside me. You mean like the natural aptitude that makes you humiliate students in front of their peers? I said quietly. Or the kind that makes you bring up your own test score in every class? Her expression hardened. Excuse me? I've been documenting our interactions, Miss Thornton. The way you call on me more than other students. The way you dismiss correct answers. The way you mentioned your record, 98%, the same day you embarrassed me about my notebook. You're being paranoid. Am I? Because I talked to Emily Mitchell's sister. Emily scored a 96 on the state exam 6 years ago, 2 points below your record. And somehow her college recommendation letter from you was terrible. That is a completely inappropriate accusation. It's not an accusation. It's a question. I picked up my backpack. What happens if I score a 99 or a 100? You won't. But if I do? Miss Thornton's face was flushed. You're being incredibly disrespectful right now, Mr. Hayes. I could write you up for insubordination. Please do. I've been keeping records with Mr. Peterson. He's aware of everything. Get out of my classroom. Gladly. I walked to the door, then turned back. I just want you to know, Miss Thornton, I'm not doing this to hurt you. I'm doing this because I love chemistry, and I'm good at it, despite what you think. But if beating your record proves that you've been wrong about me this whole time, I won't apologize for that. We'll see how you feel after you fail. We will. Jake was waiting in the hallway. I heard everything he said. The door wasn't completely closed. Dude, you actually stood up to her. Yeah, and now she definitely knows I'm serious. Think she'll try something? Probably, but I've got documentation. Mr. Peterson knows. My parents know. Whatever she does, I'm ready. The next week, something strange happened. Miss Thornton requested a meeting with my parents. We all sat in her classroom after school. Me, Mom, Dad, and Miss Thornton. Thank you for coming, Miss Thornton began. I wanted to discuss Oliver's recent behavior and attitude. His behavior? Mom's voice was sharp. What about your behavior? I beg your pardon? Dad leaned forward. Miss Thornton, Oliver has told us everything. The public humiliation, the constant targeting, your comments about his abilities. We've seen his practice exam scores. He's excelling. In practice, perhaps, Miss Thornton said smoothly. But I have concerns about Oliver's mental state. This obsession with the state exam, this fixation on competition, it's not healthy. It's not an obsession, I said. It's a goal. A goal that seems rooted in resentment toward me rather than genuine academic interest. Mom stood up. We're done here. Oliver will be taking the state exam in May as planned. If you attempt to interfere with his studies or his college applications in any way, we will file a formal complaint with the principal and the school board. Miss Thornton's smile was cold. I would never do anything to harm a student's future. Good, Dad said, standing as well. Then we have nothing to worry about. As we left, I heard Miss Thornton say softly, See you in class, Oliver. The state exam was on May 15th. I'd never been so prepared for anything in my life. Marcus, Jake, and I met in the parking lot that morning. You've got this, Marcus said. You know this material better than anyone. Better than Thornton did 8 years ago, Jake added. Go destroy that record. The exam was 3 hours long. When I finally put down my pencil, I felt exhausted and exhilarated. Results came back in June, 2 weeks before school ended. Mr. Peterson called me to his office with my parents. Oliver, congratulations. He handed me an envelope. Your state exam score, 99%. I stared at the paper. 99, 1 point higher than Miss Thornton's record. Mom hugged me. Dad shook my hand, beaming. This is the highest score any Riverside student has ever achieved, Mr. Peterson said. We'll announce it at the end of year assembly. Has Miss Thornton been told? I asked. The faculty received score reports this morning. Yes, she knows. The end of year assembly was the following week. Principal Rodriguez called me to the stage. Oliver Hayes has achieved something remarkable, a 99% on the state chemistry exam, breaking the school record that has stood for 8 years. The applause was deafening. I accepted my certificate and looked out at the crowd. Miss Thornton sat in the faculty section, her face blank. After the assembly, she approached me in the hallway. "Oliver, I want to talk to you." We stepped into an empty classroom. Jake and Marcus waited outside. "I want to apologize," Miss Thornton said. "I was too hard on you. I let my own pride get in the way of being a good teacher." "You're apologizing because I beat your record." "No, if I'd scored a 97, would you be apologizing? If I'd failed, would we be having this conversation?" She was silent. "I don't accept your apology," I said clearly. "You didn't just push me to work harder. You humiliated me. You made me doubt myself. And according to Sarah Mitchell, I'm not the first. I never meant, it doesn't matter what you meant. It matters what you did." I held up my certificate. "I earned this despite you, not because of you. I'm going to study chemistry in college because I love this subject, and I always have. None of that has anything to do with you." "Oliver, please, we're done here, Miss Thornton." I walked out, joining Jake and Marcus. "How do you feel?" Marcus asked. "Free. She tried to make me small, but all she did was make me work harder." "So what now?" Jake grinned. "Celebrate. Let's go get pizza." That summer, I received acceptance letters from 3 universities. MIT, where Emily Mitchell had wanted to go, offered me a scholarship. I accepted immediately. My last day working at the ice cream shop before college, Sarah came in. "Oliver, congratulations on MIT. Emily wanted me to give you this." She handed me a note. I opened it after she left. "Dear Oliver, never let someone else's limitations define your potential. You proved that. Go be brilliant. Emily." I pinned it to my dorm room wall that fall, and whenever I saw it, I remembered, the best revenge isn't proving someone wrong, it's proving yourself right. What would you do if a teacher tried to hold you back? Have you ever had to prove yourself against someone who doubted you? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more true stories of standing up and succeeding.